Hello truetube, welcome to the BAPS Swamiran Mandir in Neasden. Jai Swamiran. Before we begin our tour, could I please ask you to remove your shoes just in the shoe racks over here. Thanks very much. Next we'll move on. If you'd like to follow me through to here. We're currently standing in this Haveli. The Haveli means courtyard, and as you can see, the architecture is designed such as a traditional Indian courtyard. Around you will see many lotuses. Lotuses represent a special part of Hinduism, that which represents purity and detachment while still living within the material world. So welcome to the Haveli. We call this the Haveli, but it's actually a great big assembly hall. There's a different vibe here at the moment because there's no one here, but every single week we have thousands and thousands of people coming to the temple, and this hall is able to actually occupy 2,500 people, and that's usually full every week. As we move forward towards the actual stage, you can see more about what our philosophy entails. In the center on the left in white, you can notice Lord Swaminarayan. He is who we believe to be the Supreme God. We believe he incarnated down on the earth approximately 200 years ago. And Lord Swaminarayan has left a succession of enlightened gurus after him. These are very important figures for us, and they were our gurus and those who have suffered through much hardship and toils overcoming many obstacles to create what you see in front of you today. The edge of the Haveli leads on to this magnificent courtyard, which is a large open space, followed on by this moat. The moat is obviously full of water, and it goes around the entire temple. The moat represents water and purity created by that water, and the cleansing of the devotees as they turn into the temple. Behind that, you'll see a large block of housing and accommodation where the sadhus actually stay. A sadhu is a name that we give to the Hindu monks that reside here in the temple. They perform many of the important pujas and worship and many of the rituals that we conduct here in the temple on a daily basis. But they also have a role in organizing many events, in organizing sermons, in giving speeches, inspiring our youth, and giving guidance on both social and spiritual matters alike. On the side, you'll see the actual temple itself. The outer carvings, as you can see from a close-up, is actually to do with ideals and values depicted from heroes and heroines from our traditional epic histories like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. We can look up a bit further, and what you'll see is a large pointing kind of spire. This is known as a shikhar. There are many of them at this temple, but they represent the Himalayan realm where the gods live. And having it looking so high and so tall makes us remember that it's an upward path that we have to climb. This is also resonated in the fact that we've got these large steps at the front. Those steps show us that it's an upward journey that we have to make to get to heaven and to get to moksha and to free ourselves from a cycle of births and deaths and finally reach God in the end. But it's an uphill struggle all the way. So at the top of the shikhars, you'll see a waving flag, and these flags are on every single shikhar up there. Each different temple will have a different flag, and will also let devotees who are going past know which organization it might relate to. The ceremonial gate at the front, that's where traditionally in India we would walk up onto the stairs onto a flat plateau. That plateau is called the Mandir. That's where we'll often have a bell, and though not at this temple, in many other temples there is a bell which alerts God to our presence inside the temple. The direction of the temple is towards the rising sun. Offerings and food are made to the deities upstairs, we offer the sumptuous, the nicest, the most delicious foods that we can think of and offer them to God. And then these are distributed amongst the devotees as prasad or sanctified food. The food is actually pure vegetarian food, as this is the most purest type of food. Hi, welcome to the actual Mandir. You'll see on the left-hand side are the steps on the outside of the temple. On my right-hand side, you'll see the inner sanctum, or the Garbhagriha, inside which the deities or sacred images or murtis are housed. There are the deities of Lord Swaminarayan and the succession of the enlightened gurus. We don't believe that the images are God. We believe we can connect to God through the images, and they allow us to focus our prayers and focus our desires through the images. You'll also notice around here, the atmosphere is very pure and very calming. That is the reason why the mandir is built as it is. The mandir actually means the place where the mind becomes still. Everything here is an offering of devotion. You'll see garlands and perfumes and scarves and all different sorts of variety of clothing and offerings. And this is just a mark of the devotion of both the devotees and the sadhus that are performing the pujas or the worship inside the temple. Devotion is offered to the deities to the same level as if you were addressing yourself, or even greater than that. As in most temples, you'll see a shrine offered to Ganesh and a shrine offered to Hanuman. Ganesh is the son of Lord Shiva, and he is who Hindus worship to obtain auspiciousness and good luck. Hanuman was the ideal devotee of Lord Ram, and he showed the purest and the most efficient and most dedicated form of devotion. We also keep some ash there, which is allowed to be placed onto the forehead of the devotee, and it's taken as a blessing from Lord Ganesh. As we move more towards the center, there are shrines to my left and to my right, representing Lord Shiva, who is the Lord of destruction and recreation, and Lord Ram, who is the Lord who we worship as an ideal person. Behind me, there's a familiar symbol which you might recognize. The swastika is a symbol which is used quite commonly in Hindu homes and Hindu families. The swastika has 4 arms, and all those 4 arms point in different directions. The symbol represents bringing goodness from all 4 directions of the world. Some of you might recognize it as, unfortunately, a Nazi symbol. However, there are slight changes that the Nazi symbol has. It's flipped over and it's tilted on its side. The Hindu swastika is actually over 5,000 years older than this Nazi symbol, and it doesn't have any of the negative connotations that the Nazi symbol does. So just don't get confused. On my left-hand side, there is the inner sanctum. This inner sanctum is known as the Garbhagriha. This is where the murtis, or the sacred images of God, are housed. We actually follow the inner sanctum around, and by doing a clockwise motion of it, keeping the inner sanctum on our right-hand side, we perform what is known as a pradakshina. Offering this circumambulation or pradakshina is a form of devotion, and we are rewarded by God for performing this action. Goodbye truetube, Jay Swaminarayan, and I hope you enjoyed your tour of the Mandir today. Bye.